Many, if not all of us, have heard of the LGBT acronym, but do we actually know what it means? L stands for lesbian, G stands for gay, B stands for bi, but we knew those three already. What about the neglected T? T stands for transgenderism. Today, I will be talking to you about what transgenderism means and how we can better understand it. Oxford Dictionary defines transgenderism as relating or denoting to a person whose sense of personal identity does not correspond with their birth sex. Transgenderism is a growing topic among the 21st century, so I'm sure the audience has encountered it in some shape or form. But today, as it grows in society, it is good to be educated so that we are seen as knowledgeable and not ignorant, as transgender people are more accepted in society. So, as a person who has had several transgender friends and a member of Gen Z, a very inclusive and understanding generation, I have a pretty good understanding on all that transgenderism entails. So today, I will be breaking down the multiple layers of transgenderism to give you a greater understanding. First, let's dive deeper into what transgender actually is. In many ways, being transgender is a neurological phenomenon. In a study done by Psychological Neuroscience Studies, found that there were patterns being associated with with identifying as transgender. These patterns are found in the corpus callosum. So the corpus callosum is the part of your brain that connects the left and right side. So it's kind of the communication center. So in transgender individuals, they see different types of patterns and different ways that the neuros take, while in people who do not identify as transgender, there is different paths, and it's not wrong or correct either way. It is just there's different patterns seen, and they're very differentiated due to this study by the Neuroscience Institutes. So now that we have talked about the mental effects of transgenderism, let's talk about the physical aspect of it. So I don't know about anybody else, but for a very long time, I was really confused on how the sexual reassignment surgery worked. They just walked into a surgery and then they come out a different sex. It just didn't quite make sense to me. But now that I have done a lot of research, I have a greater understanding on what it actually means. So sexual reassignment surgery is one of the longest and most expensive cosmetic surgeries out there. So it can be up to $50,000 or it's as low as $24,000. So it is really expensive, and insurance does not cover this type of surgery. It is not only really expensive, but it is very, very long. So the whole process takes about 4 years, and that's if you do everything back to back. But most people do not do everything back to back because of the financial burden, as well as a lot on the body at once. So it takes about 20 months pre-surgery, 18 months post-surgery, 12 months pre-contact, and 10 months post-contact. Pre and post-contact just means that after the surgery, there are some touch-ups that are made, very small procedures or hormone changes, and that's what pre and post contact mean. So it is a very long and grueling process. So let's talk about what people think about transgenderism. Like most things, everyone has an opinion, but for the sake of this speech, I'm just going to break it up into two different topics. Whether people believe that transgenderism is a choice, or whether people believe transgenderism is not a choice. In a study done by transsexuality.org, it is seen that 25% of people believe that being transgender is a choice, while 62% believe that being transgender is not a choice. Now, even though the majority of people believe that being transgender is not a choice, there is still a very high level of discrimination, which is one of the biggest factors in transgender equality. So let's talk about the discrimination in transgenderism. 98% of transgender individuals experience some form of discrimination in their lives. 77% of transgender individuals have mistreatment in their schools from their teachers or even students. Nearly half of respondents to this survey done by transsexuality.org say that they have been verbally assaulted in the past year, and 15% say that they have been sexually assaulted in the past year. Now, these are some really high percents and some scary numbers, but let's talk about how transgenderism has progressed throughout the last decade. So 83% of states have outlawed discrimination completely. This is a really big advancement, and although it's not 100%, it is slowly climbing, and it really shows that there has been a lot of movement with the transgenderism. Protecting transgender workers has gone up 73% in corporations. This shows that it is globally recognized and not just in the US. 43% of public schools require a not gender neutral bathroom. This is a really big deal because public schools usually are not very open to different things, so this shows that transgender movements are being really positive, and it shows that people are being more accepted even on just being in high school or even middle school. So I know that I have talked more about transgenderism in these last 5 minutes than you have heard in your entire life, so let's talk about what we've learned. Today, I have shared with you the ins and outs of transgenderism. In conclusion, transgenderism has many different layers that most people don't see. Transgenderism is believed to be a neurological tell in the brain. There are many strong beliefs revolving around transgenderism, and transgender people are highly discriminated against, but it is becoming more and more accepted every day. As you can see, there is a lot of talk surrounding transgenderism, and the discussions are advancing with the transgender movement, so it is important to educate yourself on the topics that you are not familiar with and the future that is coming so very soon. Thank you for listening.